Hi everyone, I'm Rabbi Amy and I'm here with the amazing Sharon Shear, our musical director for Neshama and
Hey everybody.
my partner in crime and all Jewish things for many, many years now. And I wanted to take this opportunity to kick off this new video series about everyday spirituality. Sharon and I have been talking about these things between the two of us for a long time. And we thought we'd share with you some of the questions and conversations that we have, and hopefully you can learn something, reflect for yourself, and share with us as well. So the first question I have for you,
Bring it on.
is I'm curious about your own Jewish experiences and what are the things that you love about Judaism, being Jewish. What fills your heart? What are some of the highlights that come to you?
So many things. It's such a great question. So I love the community and the family. And I think that when we're young and our families come together, the importance, the meaning, the tradition, the history, the story, the intensity of just how long the Jewish people have been doing these things is lost on us, right? We're young, we don't know. And then if you're fortunate, you become an adult, you have your own family, and you continue your family traditions if that's what you choose to do, which I did. And it's tremendously meaningful to be now a mother, a cousin, a sibling, a daughter-in-law, a daughter, doing these things. So just as an example, I grew up never leading or participating in leading the Seder for Passover, and I did last night.
Oh my gosh.
And so that was an honor that I was bestowed upon me by a family member, and together we did the Seder, and it was so meaningful because our elders were able to sit back and enjoy, and we were able to take the baton and continue the tradition. And my favorite part about that is asking the kids, why are we doing this? What's the answer? What does this mean? What are we doing right now?
Right.
And asking the kids who are 5 and 10 and 15 and 25 and having different answers. And what was really beautiful is a lot of them also talked about the family. Uncle Michael makes those origami characters for the money when you find the afikomen, like somebody else remembers the food. And then some, remember the story and the fact that we've been doing this for so long. So I would say that it's the family, it's the community, and it's having grown up in one way, Reform, and continuing on in my own way, which is a little bit of a combination, with a conservative addition, and making it my own throughout the years.
That's beautiful.
So
I
that's
love
what I would say.
I love that. And so as a kid, we don't necessarily realize how deeply these traditions get planted within us, right? And then as we grow, and we're like, oh, Passover, yeah, I remember that. I remember those things, and they kind of come organically and naturally, just to want to recreate some of the memories. And then I love how you add to it with your own, because Judaism is not meant to be one thing, right? That's why we tell the same story, but it's always different because we're different. And when we're passing it on to the next generation, they're allowed to add to it as well. So I love that. I think for a lot of people, tradition is the key. And so I'm curious if you have any thoughts about how people get away from tradition, because it is so kind of imprinting. And so in your experience talking to people in our community and friends that maybe are not so connected, what do you think kind of breaks the tie?
In terms of keeping traditions alive? The stress of life, depending on where you find yourself in your life, the community in which you find yourself, your friends, your work, very much about, it's all about balance.
Okay.
And I think that and that's why I think it's been so incredible being part of more of a conservative community and having my kids go to a conservative camp. And this is something that was lost on me as a kid. I mean, I grew up in New York, and the Reform kids were kind of the quote-unquote cool kids, and the conservative kids were the quote-unquote nerds.
Yes.
And nerds rule the world, because I have only seen, now as an adult, having children who have been a part of the conservative community, that they're the cool kids. The conservative kids are, I think, what I've seen, they are the perfect blend of being extraordinarily connected to their Judaism, their understanding about Israel and its importance, but also having balance, playing sports, pursuing other things, but really always having their Jewish identity close. So I think that it really helps in terms of keeping traditions if you balance it with a strong Jewish piece in your life.
And some well-roundedness that in the conservative world, you know, we decades ago, there was a little booklet that came out called Tradition and Change, and it was kind of this simple little model that kind of got mocked because it sounds so basic, but there really is something beautiful to me, and I think it points to exactly what you're saying, that we can maintain those traditions, but we can have a well-rounded life. We don't need to be isolated from the rest of the world. And I know you've heard this sermon before, but I've talked a lot over the years about kind of this image of Judaism as a ladder. And we're always trying to do a little more and climb a little bit higher. And in some regards, that's an accurate image because it is good to have goals and to improve and to add richness and depth to our life. But in terms of kind of the strictness of mitzvot, that I think that really leads us astray sometimes. That we think someone who's more kosher is automatically more Jewish or more authentic. And that's not true. Judaism has place for leniency and Judaism has place for strictness. And that gets lost, I think, sometimes in our modern world, that we defer to anybody who, quote unquote, is more observant, that they're automatically more knowledgeable. And Judaism survived, in my opinion, I know you've heard this spiel many times, but it survived because we had an ability to adapt. And not every situation is the same. And not every stage in life is the same. When we have kids who are young that, want to play sports and do other things and be occupied in the regular world, there's a way to do that and still maintain Jewish identity. I actually remember always saying to my kids, we can be Jewish at Disney World different than we're Jewish at home. And that's okay, because Judaism flows and it's not going to break. If we go to Disney World, we don't eat exactly the way we do at home, that's okay. That's okay. We're still aware. We're still keeping kosher. We're still aware of our Judaism, but we don't always have the same resources.
Imagine it surviving without adaptability.
Correct.
It couldn't.
It wouldn't have.
It just wouldn't.
It wouldn't have. So I love your awareness of the value of tradition and also the ability to make it our own, both for that sake and also to make it thrive. Every generation is different. All right, so question number 2 is...
That was only one question?
I know. We did good. We had a lot to say about one question. But my second thing that I think is really important to think about as a spiritual person is when it comes to our faith and our traditions, where do we find the challenges? And Judaism is a long tradition, as you've mentioned. We don't necessarily agree with everything that's been either written in the Torah or taught to us. And so I think, again, Judaism is so vibrant and so resilient that we don't have to be afraid to say, this is where it doesn't work for me. And this is the part that I find challenging. And to be an adult in the world, we have to know what our challenges are and where we struggle. So I will ask you, where do you struggle with Jewish life or Judaism as a philosophy or religion?
A great question. So I think at its core, what I really appreciate about Judaism, it's very direct. I mean, the commandments are very clear. And the mitzvot, being good in the world, tikkun olam, you save one world, save one person, save the world. Lashon hora, really don't speak of others because it can invite in negativity. Like I think there are those are just 2 examples. There are so many good lessons in Judaism, and then of course about family, about Shabbat. I haven't been in Shomer Shabbos 24 hours, but the times that we observed Shabbat with dinner and friends and family, and that Friday night, and knowing that the kids knew that we were always going to be doing something on Friday night as a family to go from the week to the weekend, so many good things. And I think really, if I had any criticism about Judaism, it would just be the people, that we can't help ourselves, right? So in and of itself, Judaism is probably a very sound set of rules and guidelines and a way to live and a culture, a tradition, a religion. It's all the things. But we people, we can't help ourselves. So what do I mean by that? I mean that people I think that we take that idea of questioning a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like we're questioning each other to get the last word, to be the one heard the loudest. I think we forget that we are all Jews. We are all Jewish people together. And I have seen far too many times that members of certain sections of our Jewish community as a whole will not necessarily agree that another person is as Jewish if they're not following to the same degree that they are. So I think we, maybe ourselves, that's what I struggle with the most. And mostly I have felt very, very welcome. But there have been times that I haven't, and that's really hard. That's really hard because I want to believe I'm Jewish, and I've always lived Jewishly in different degrees, but I would like to feel like other people accept me as Jewish, no matter what.
Right. Yeah, there should be no judgment.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
All right, question number 3 is, if you can conjure up something. I've spoken a lot also about kind of the spectrum of being religious or being spiritual. And a lot of people in our world today, we identify more as spiritual than religious, and religion and religiosity gets kind of a bad rap as being, maybe a little more kind of militant, or just more kind of doing things for the purpose, more robotic, not really having the spiritual meaning behind it. And then our leading of our congregation has always been about, you say, bring the love and bring the spirit and bring the ruach and bring the neshama. That's why we're called neshama. And so I'm just curious, from your personal point of view, is there kind of, where would you place yourself on that spectrum of religious versus spiritual? And is there some spiritual moment that you can share that you go back to that kind of helps you feel, connected with this concept of your own personal spirituality?
So this is such a great question for me, and what comes to me, the best answer I can give is, my Judaism is so tied to the music. And the piece that I feel especially grateful for is the music, and that we've been doing this together since 2002 or 2003, and I still remember doing Tat Shabbat with you, and I could still play those same songs, and every time we do our service and every time we play our songs, like they still fill me to the same brim, that my cuppeth run over, as my grandmother used to say. Like, so spiritually,
did you say cuppeth?
That's what my grandma used to say, my cuppeth run over. That's what she said in my wedding video.
It's not the cuppeth, it's the cup.
The cup runneth over, but
she had the cuppeth.
Yeah.
Oh, she had a cuppeth.
Yeah, oh totally. Usually had scotch in it.
That's amazing.
So for me, as a music person and a person who connects to their Judaism through music so deeply and so consistently over all these years, I would say that my spirituality is so huge, and it's through the music, and my religion is through the music. Because when I go to temple and I'm singing those songs in Hebrew, and I know that I'm saying the prayers, and I am motivating our congregation to do the same, I mean, hello religion, bring it all day long.
Okay.
So I feel very fortunate to say that because of the music. I feel like those two things are very connected and very blended. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Of course. I love you.
So then my last question, which is a little bit of a teaser, is for you to ask me something which I'm not going to answer on the spot, because I like to research and I like to be well prepared, and I don't know what you're going to say. So is there something that you've always wondered about Judaism, or a question that you have, that some subject we haven't talked about in all these years? What do you think?
So I think what comes to me for you is, how is it as a woman leader in the Jewish community, and as a clergy person, being a clergy person and a leader in a religion? I think most religions are predominantly male-led, and gratefully that has evolved, and I've been by your side for all these years, so I've seen a lot of it. But I would ask you to contemplate that a bit and share with us, how is it being a female rabbi?
Okay. I'm going to contemplate it.
Okay. Yay. Can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you
My
for
pleasure.
sharing your heart and your thoughts. And thanks everybody for watching, and share some comments and some questions. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace out.